Okay, got a wee video this morning for you on the calculus derivation of equations of motion. Motion is all about how things change with respect to time. So if we take the example of an object that is accelerating, if it's got a constant acceleration, then its velocity is changing with respect to time. If it's got a constant acceleration, then that acceleration is not changing with respect to time, and its displacement, that's how far away it is from its original position, is increasing at an ever increasing rate. Those are our three characteristic graphs of how things change over a period of time when an object is accelerating. Now, when we talk about calculus, what do we really mean? We really mean what's the gradient of the graph at a particular point. Well, the gradient of this graph, which is the change in the y-axis over the change in the x-axis, the gradient of that graph is the change in the y-axis over the change in the x-axis. Well, change in velocity with respect to time is acceleration. Acceleration is the gradient of the velocity time graph. The area under the graph gives us the distance gone, or the displacement. So the displacement is equal to the area under the graph. These two processes, finding the gradient and finding the area under the graph, is calculus. Differential calculus is finding the gradient. Integral calculus is finding the area under the graph. Okay. So let's talk about gradients first. It's easier to talk about the first one here, this middle graph. The gradient of that graph is the change in velocity over the change in the time. That's acceleration. So the gradient of that velocity time graph is the acceleration. The gradient of this graph is 0 because the acceleration is not changing. The acceleration is constant. Now, the gradient of this graph is changing all the time because the instantaneous speed of the object is increasing. So that gradient is increasing. So the velocity at any point on that graph is the change in the displacement over the time. But it's changing all the time, so we have to look at very small changes in displacement over small changes in time. And this small d means the change in displacement as the limit of that change becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So how do we write velocity? Velocity is the change in displacement over the time for very small changes. Acceleration is the change in velocity over very small changes in time. Right? Velocity is called the first derivative of displacement. Acceleration is the derivative of velocity. We can combine these two because if acceleration is the change in velocity over a period of time and velocity is the change in displacement over a period of time, then we can say that acceleration is the change in displacement. If I put brackets around that, it's probably easier so you can see that acceleration is the change in velocity over a period of time. So acceleration is the change in displacement over a period of time. We can rewrite that like this. Acceleration is the second derivative of displacement. Okay, d squared over dt squared. So, looking from left to right, the gradient of this graph gives us the rate of change of displacement with respect to time, that is velocity. The gradient of this graph gives us the change in the velocity with respect to time, that's acceleration. The gradient of this graph gives us the rate of change of the acceleration with respect to time. In this case, that's 0 because it's got a constant acceleration, it's not changing. So displacement, velocity, acceleration. If we go backwards and we deal with the areas, then we can talk about integration. So integration is when you use the area under the graph. As we start with the middle one. So at National 5, what we taught you was that if you want to work out the distance gone, if you want to work out the displacement, you integrate the area under the graph is equal to the displacement. So similarly, if you've got an acceleration time graph, then the area under the graph gives you the velocity going up to that point. So by integrating an acceleration time graph, you get the velocity at a certain point. By integrating the velocity time graph, you get the displacement to a point. So if we work out the area of that graph to a certain time, then we get the displacement of that object at that time. So the key to deriving the equations of motion by using calculus is our statement for acceleration. Acceleration is the second derivative of displacement. If we integrate this statement twice, we will get our equation of motion for velocity and equation of motion for displacement. Right, we're going to integrate this statement here. Remember, all integrate means is that we are finding the area under a curve from one point to another point with respect to whatever is on the x-axis of that graph. So if we integrate this with respect to time, that's going to be equal to integrating the acceleration with respect to time. Right, then one of these cancels with one of these, and we end up with ds by dt equals at. ds by dt, should have added a constant of integration there. Whenever you integrate, you always add a constant of integration. ds by dt is equal to v, so v equals at plus c. And in this case, when t equals 0, c equals v at the start. So c equals the initial speed. U. So v equals u plus at. All we've done is start off with our acceleration statement. It's the second derivative of displacement. If you integrate that with respect to time, integrate acceleration with respect to time, then we get ds by dt, which is velocity, equals at plus our constant of integration. That constant of integration, when t equals 0, c must be equal to our velocity at the start, which is the initial speed u. If we integrate that again, if we now integrate this relationship, velocity, which remember velocity is ds by dt, it's the rate of change of displacement. If we integrate that with respect to time, that's going to be equal to the integral of u plus at with respect to time. That cancels with that, and we end up with s, or the change in displacement from one point to another, is equal to, perform the integration, ut plus t times t is t squared. Now your rules of integration then mean that we bring a 2 down at the bottom there, add our constant of integration, and again when t equals 0, then c will be equal to 0 if s equals 0. So we have s equals ut plus a half at squared. That's assuming that s is 0 at the start. That's why the c is 0. So what we've been able to do there is use integration to derive the two equations of motion for velocity and displacement from our initial statement about acceleration. The third equation of motion, if you're wondering how that's derived, we don't use calculus to derive that. That's derived just using algebra. It starts off from this one. V equals u plus at. Square both sides, so v squared is u plus at, all squared. So v squared equals u plus at times u plus at. Multiply out the brackets, you get u squared plus uat plus outside uat plus these two multiplied together is a squared t squared. Collect the terms, you get u squared plus, that's 2uat plus a squared t squared. Now the wee trick. If we take out a common factor, if we take out 2a from here, that leaves us with ut plus, now we need to take 2a out of this. So if we take 2a out, that leaves us with a half, because 2 times a half equals 1. One of the a's has been taken out, and it leaves us with that. And from our second equation of motion, s equals ut plus a half at squared. There we have it. And that's your third equation of motion. Not derived by calculus, but derived by algebra. The tricky two are the calculus ones. That's it.